Almost 1 out of 4 quit within the first week of setting New Year's resolutions, and most quit before the end of January, and only 9% see their resolutions through until succession. Yeah, I feel qualified to talk about this topic. So we're still in the start of the new year, and a lot of us have set goals for ourselves, usually at the start of the year or at different points in time. And oftentimes, a lot of us don't follow through with them, apparently. And I'm not surprised because I have been that way for a really long time. And that's also why I just wouldn't really set resolutions because, I mean, I'm not going to do them anyway. I just want to do it. The idea is nice, but I don't have a plan of action. So I find that a lot of people are in this boat, and the ones that are not usually have a plan. So clearly, a lot of people are not making and following through with their resolutions. Why is that? A lot of people don't follow through with their resolutions because they don't really plan. You have a goal, but you don't know how you're going to achieve the goal. So it's just an idea, it's just a thought, it's just a dream, really, because there's no plan of action to following through with that. And I have found myself do that a lot of times as well, where I'll be like, yeah, I want to do this one thing, and then I don't think about it again. Or I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that thing. Like, I want to be a millionaire, but what's the plan of action? I don't know, but I'm gonna be a millionaire. It's not good enough. It's not gonna get you far enough. At least for myself, it does not get me far enough. I'm not a millionaire. So I think the first thing is that people don't plan enough or plan effectively enough. And what that looks like is it could be following smart rules, figuring out exactly what you want to do, narrowing it down and being specific about it, how you're going to get there. What are you going to do on the daily basis, a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Where are you expecting to reach a halfway mark, in 6 months' time? People aren't necessarily, we're not doing that. And so I've found that because I have sat down and done that this time around, I feel like I'm so much further ahead than I've ever been before. So a lot of people might think, okay, I'm gonna wait till I have a clear headspace, everything's going good, I have my buckets in an order, or ducks in an order, whatever the phrase is. And it just doesn't happen because, you know what, life keeps happening. And I think that is a challenge that a lot of us face is, okay, we were gonna start fresh in February, but now I have a project due, or now I have an event coming up, or now I have this unforeseen circumstance, I have to deal with that. I can't do this right now. I'll put my goals for later, later and later and later. And I think what we have to kind of realize is tomorrow never comes. We have to start sooner rather than later because later never comes. I think sometimes a lot of us will think delaying our start is better because we'll be better prepared and we'll have more tasks done that are kind of coming and confusing us a little bit or occupying us a little bit. Let's wait for those tasks to get out of the way and then we'll start. I kind of did the same thing with this YouTube channel where I was like, okay, I'm gonna start making videos when I have time. Okay, I'm gonna make it when I have nice lighting. I never had nice lighting. I had to somehow make it up, and eventually circumstances came in where I did have nice lighting. I was like, okay, I'll do it when I have even better lighting. And I realized this is never gonna happen. Just do it. Just do it because you want to do it. And you wanted to do it for so long. So just start. And so that's why I started. You have to understand that delaying things will not make them happen. So we're about 3 weeks into the new year, and you might be thinking, why am I making this video now? I'm making this video now because I think that sometimes we need to get reminders for ourselves that it's okay if we had a rough beginning of the year or beginning few weeks of our New Year's resolutions. That's fine. The point is to keep on trying and to keep improving and reassessing ourselves and continuing to move forward. I don't think it's worth it for us to give up on the whole year or the whole month just because we had a rough few days or few weeks. That's why I think it's really important to take the time right now to reassess and make changes that we may need to make to kind of get closer to our goals and continue on our resolutions, whether it's working out more, being more organized, etc. Since a lot of us are probably struggling with keeping up our resolutions, I thought it would be a good idea to remind us that it's okay. Not everyone has a perfect start, and there will never be truly a perfect time to get started on things. So it's better to just take this moment or take this day or this week as the new start, where you're at right now, and restart now. What can you do differently to stay on track with your goals? The first thing is to reassess your planning. So maybe you planned already and you just didn't follow through and you're thinking, what's the point of planning? Maybe you need to reassess and pivot your planning strategies. Maybe you need to think about things a little bit differently. I always recommend SMART, looking for something that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. The more you specify your goal, the more likely you will be able to see it as something that is possible, and you can break it down into further steps of things that lead you to eventually reach that goal. An example of, let's say you want to save $12,000 in the year, or you want to save money in the year. You can make it more specific by saying, I'm going to save $12,000 in the year. What does that look like? Because that's a huge number. That looks like about $1,000 a month. That still looks like a lot. What does that look like per week? $250 per week. Now you might think, I can't save $250 a week, and I'm never going to save $250 a week. That's when you reassess what is more realistic for you. Maybe it's more realistic for you to save $100 a week and slowly work your way up to eventually saving $250 a week. Now, you might think that's too much to take on to eventually go to $250 a week. Okay, let's start with $100 a week. What does that look like? $100 a week is about $400 a month, which is about $4,600 a year. Yes, it's a lot less than $12,000 a year, but hey, we have a goal that is realistic that we can eventually get to. And along the way, when you feel like, hey, I want to save more, I want to get as close to that 12,000 as possible, let's improve our goal or increase our goal to 5,000 in a year. What does that look like? Break it down and just continue to reassess and increase your goal by changing your strategy. So maybe you pick up a side gig, maybe you start doing Uber on the side or something like that to make a little bit of extra money and slowly increase the amount that you're saving. I'm not saying to lower your standards for your goals, but make them realistic and then work from there to get to the ultimate goal of saving a larger amount of money. When it comes to setting goals for ourselves, we all find that we don't have time. How are we going to fit a whole exercise routine into our schedule, etc., when we already feel like we're always doing things? So it's important to create time, and we can do this by just taking a moment to step back and see where do we have little pockets of time in our day that we're not using to the best of our abilities, and how can we make them more effective so that we can save time later on or make the most of our time that we have. So that could be as simple as, instead of scrolling for your whole lunch break, maybe you scroll for half your lunch break and the other half you're going on a walk, or you're walking while you're on your phone scrolling in a safe place so you don't get injured, you know. But you could do that, or you could spend less time scrolling, and the other time that you have left over you can use to create a shopping list so you know what you're doing for your shopping or grocery, and you don't have to take time out of your day or go to the store not planning your list at all. I think oftentimes a lot of people feel like they need all of the best of everything in order to get started on a task. And sometimes you just have to be resourceful. You have to start with zero or with just what you have and work your way up. So you don't have to buy new gym clothes in order to go to the gym or start exercising. You don't even need a gym membership. There are ways to do things at home. We can start there and slowly work our way up. Once we build the habits and prove to ourselves, hey, I'm actually really interested in this, I'm following through with this, now let's make an investment in my new activity. Because prior to that, you might think, hey, maybe I won't actually go to the gym and I'll waste all this money spending on gym clothes or equipment or a membership when I'm not going to use it anyway, because I'm probably going to give up on it. You know what? Let's not even bother. So I think it's better to just start with what you have and be active about it and slowly see how you're building those habits, and if it's worth it for you to purchase those items or those things that will help elevate your experience with your goals. This goes same with planning. You don't need to have like the best planner or a really fancy planner. Start with a piece of paper and just go from there. I know that I understand like the feeling of wanting to have everything. Like, hey, if I don't have that planner, or if I don't have those new gym clothes, I can't get started on my activities. I'm never going to get my goals done because I don't have those things. The reality is you don't need to have those things. You just need to get in the habits of the things. Everything else is extra. We don't need to have brand new gym clothes. It's nice to have. We don't need to have a brand new beautiful planner, but it's nice to have. So I think sometimes we think we'll be more motivated when we get those things, but it's not necessarily those things that motivate us. It's actually us accomplishing the small baby steps of, hey, I spent 5 minutes at the gym today. If you find any of these tips helpful, I would love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. It really helps me out. But on to the next tip. I really think a lot of people forget to celebrate their small successes, because honestly they matter and they help you stay motivated. So if you find that you've been sticking to your goals for a month straight, it's worth it to celebrate in a small way that keeps you further motivated and also gives you a little bit of a pat on the back, because we don't need approval from other people, only to some degree, yeah, but it's really important to get approval from ourselves and celebrate ourselves a little bit. So for example, myself, I like to eat sushi and I realized how expensive it is. So I was like, hey, why don't I make this a little bit of a treat for myself around my goals? So every 3 months I like to take a look back and see, hey, Have I been reaching my goals? Have I been sticking to it? Have I been making an honest effort with trying to reach my goals? And if I find that I have, hey, let's go for sushi. And then I enjoy sushi a lot more. Let's just say that. Celebrating our small successes throughout the year or throughout our journey of reaching our goals honestly will help you make the experience more enjoyable and give you a little bit of a burst of satisfaction and motivation to continue on your path to your goals. So those are my tips to get ahead of that hurdle of waiting for that perfect start so we can get started on our goals and year's resolutions in the new year. I hope you guys found it helpful. Let me know in the comments below, and I hope you guys have a successful year. See you guys in the next one.